In this documentary, I'm going to go through all the worm types I've managed to picture, their likely habitats, who hunts the worms, various structures of worms. This is one, sort of a greyish type of background picture. It could have been taken at sunset or sunrise by the Apollo cameras. They usually come to the edge of these rock ledges, and they usually climb up and down the rock ledges. So we'll just go through the picture step by step what we can see. This one has evolved to adapt a sidearm. There's two sidearms there, so it can actually pick itself up and move and raise its head. It's fascinating. And there's the creature usually waits at the edge, the very large clawed pincer. Dark black purplish coloured arthropods. And there's our friend up there. There he is. So these worms are with sidearms, and there's one more picture coming in the series later on. This is a good picture because some of these worms have developed frontal eyes. Now see the very black spot in some of these. That's the head. There's one crawling up. That's a definite picture there. And obviously the landscape is greenish and brown. Obviously there's vegetation, microbes, everything else happening up there. You can't just have a creature of this size developing without all the other smaller creatures and plant life around there. It's happening on the rock ledges. That's usually where the moisture condensates. The Apollo 8 astronauts did see a mist when they actually flew over on the far side. Let's have a closer look. That's as far as resolution I can get. That's his shadow, that's his eye, and that's him wobbling. It's a good picture. You've got greens and browns in the background. Let's go further. They're usually on the rock ledges, so normally where the arthropods hide amongst the edges, you'll always see them close to the arthropods. One and the other go together. There they are there down the bottom, the white ones. And we don't see such clear images, but that is one there, but looks a bit more greyish than white. Next picture. We've seen this before. That's where the white worm is coming up close to the arthropod. It doesn't realise it's going to be lunch soon. I've got a clearer photo. This is a clear picture of the very big arthropod catching the white worm. That's usually their life cycle. They get caught by these very big brown sunbaking arthropods. There it's eye processes or whatever. There's its sensation or whiskers or jaw, and that's that prong or side claw that grabbed him. And there's the pincer. You'll see the pincer there. That's the worm shaking his head. So obviously that's what happens in the end to them. See the pincer hook onto the worm, and there's the worm. So normally they run into the big arthropods, usually on the side of the cliffs that are dark blackish purple, or the sun-baking brown ones. Pretty simple so far. Here we see them on the rock ledges. In this picture, I'll have to enlarge it, but that's usually the creature that waits for them on the side with the hooks. That's it. It looks like a different creature totally. There's one arthropod sunbaking, and normally they're on the rock face. So if you have a closer look, here they are. There's one crawling up there. That picture's not that clear. In this picture you'll see other things a little bit more clearer. I think they could be eggs up there. You'll see these white things sort of wobbling around. Not that clear. And there we see a creature usually waits on the ledge for these white worms. Here's one coming over the edge. This is a nice picture. It shows them sunbaking on the side of the ledge. That one's got its head lifted up. It was a little bit clear on the iPhone, you see, so by the time I download it, it's lost clarity. On the iPhone it was a lot clearer. This seems like a worm, but it's a bit too dark. It looks like a big liverwurst sausage in the front, those side legs, and then obviously this part uses it to move forward. That's bizarre. So I don't know how to classify that one. Here we've got a shadow. That's a looks like a worm, but with legs. Obviously centipede there, because the shadow's too big, and I see little white processes underneath. So this becomes a worm with legs. It's more like a centipede. Could this be a three-headed type of worm? This was pictured approaching Apollo 17. The pictures are again a lot clearer on the iPhone. I'm losing resolution. There's three heads sticking out there from the pathway. This is a very large side clift. These are worms hanging over the edge. It's not that clear. I'll have to go in again. That's the big arthropod on the side. This one appears to be jumping mid-air, that white one, because there's the shadow. That's hard to see, that one. That's a whole group of them there. The white one's wiggling around. I'll try to enlarge it. There we go. This one will picture the crawling one. There's the side legs, but again it's a lot clearer on the iPhone. Here's one group as they're crawling up on the ledge. You'll see all the white curves, and they just and the ledge is obviously greenish and brown. This picture seems to catch one as he's sort of jumping or leapt, and you see the shadow underneath. Again, it's a lot clearer on the iPhone. So I wonder if I can increase that resolution. This is one coming over the edge of the rock ledge. There he is, curved around. There's one other picture, a little bit different contrast. Here's one coming out of the side of the mountain in one of the Apollo pics. Obviously you can see it's a worm structure. Again, it's clear on the iPhone. Now these are huge worms. This is taken from 100 kilometers, living huge trails. They're probably 50 meters or more. There could be mating there. One is upright, a little trail, and the other one's leaving a very big trail. It's probably the female. She's heavier. Maybe she's got other eggs in her. You see how that's heavier, and that's a lighter one. And around you got little larvae. So these are the big ones. Now when I go for the next picture, these are the larvae. And further up, that soft soil becomes harder, and that's where you'll see them start to migrate up. They actually know that's a safer area, and we'll try to get some pictures of these guys crawling up on the there's one larva on its own. There's some others, and I see what looks like worms then crawling up high, so they always go for the rock platform, which is safety. Next picture. Pretty hard to see there. Maybe that's one there. There it is. He goes over. So maybe this is a platform of the carcasses of dead worms that have just become calcified over the years and produced their own platform. I don't know what's going on. There it is. There it's going over. There's something darker down the bottom. And that's part of those platforms. They become very weird. They're more like calcified worm remains rather than rock formations. See what I mean? Next. Can we possibly call this our friend here a worm? There's the worm process, little fine legs and something sticking up like eyes or either wings. So it's a new type of worm. Remember our friend from before? It's bizarre. He's on the rock ledge. Seems to have very fine legs in the front. And there he is there. Is that a new type of walking worm with wings when he needs them, or eyes? I don't know. Weird. This is just one more picture. There's quite a few. Here's a few worms coming over the rock ledge. The body there of our big clawed arthropod actually starts to look like a rock ledge to these guys. So the natural progression is they climb on. And that's the end of them. So, see what I mean? There they are. There's a big arthropod of claws. It becomes a rock ledge further down. And there's pincers down the back. So he's used to catching these worms, and they're used to climbing non-stop over ledges. It's a perfect hunter-prey relation we've got there. Perfect. This is a perfect picture. It shows the relation between the worms and the hunter. There's the whole body of the hunter. We just missed the claws, so I can't always fit them in. There's the huge pincer. There's the body that's very rough looking, same as the rock ledge. And the worms look as though they're coming over the edge, sticking their heads up. They know there's something bad there for them. They're not going to just leap over on there, but some do. See what I mean? And the next picture shows the worms down there and the big rock ledge and the big pincers. That's amazing. I still can't go over this. It's a lot clearer on the iPhone after I've zoomed in. So I'm sorry, that's the best I can do until I get computer resolution software that just clears that up, and I could get that maybe soon, but that's the best for now. You see how that one sticks his head up, he's got a shadow. Probably, I estimate there are a few meters at least, and that's 50 meters at least. It's got a huge pincer, and the back of it, as we saw in the other picture, was it looks like a rock face. How's that? That's the relationship. That's the crawl mark of those three tubular structures coming out of that worm that lives under the soft soil. That was approaching Apollo 17, and maybe that was the reason that was their last expedition. This would have been happening live, and they would have seen something coming towards them. They weren't armed with semi-automatic weapons when they landed on the moon, so in theory they were, they had no protection against these moon creatures. That's the zoom-in photo that shows the three structures coming out. So something there definitely that heard the impact and vibration is coming very quick to have a look. That's a closer up of that worm with that little front eye. See it there? Not that clear, but here's a lot of white things, and looks like a little eye there, and they're eggs. I think they're little worm eggs. Try to enlarge it, but I don't think we'll get much. That's it. Yeah, they are. They're worm eggs, and there's one large one, I think, with that little black eye in the front. Is our friend here a worm? And he's just sticking up the front of his head, which has the two eyes. And is that what we saw with the Apollo 17 one crawling down the hill? This one was Apollo 14 cone crater with Edgar Mitchell. In the background, he just sticks out his head and has got an eye at the end, and each eye is on an antenna. Very hard to analyse that one. Should we call him a worm? Obviously he's up there having a look. Very hard to get that picture right, so obviously I'll just... Easiest one is the original actually. There it is. The smallest one is the best. And that was a view from the cone crater. And that's all, I think.